Alright, so page 178, we are going to talk about solving quadratics by reasoning. That means, being able to see it, being able to solve algebraically. There are different ways to solve it graphing wise, and using a quadratic equation that we will talk about this unit. But right now it says, how many solutions do we have and what are they? So if you look at the first one, how many things could I plug in for x that would make that true? What number?
Well, no, 2.
Oh, what are they?
3, negative 3.
There are two solutions. 3 and negative 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. Question number 2, how many answers there? What is it? Yeah, 0 times 0 is the only thing that would give you 0 times itself. Do one more. Then have you try some. How many solutions does number 3 have? What are they? 2 and negative 2 is correct. All right, why don't you try the other ones there? How many solutions? And what are they? What makes it true? Need more time, or we got most of them done? Skip to number 6, skip. Factor form, find the zeros, I wish we did that. All right, somebody other than Georgia, number 4. How many answers make that true? What are they? 5 and negative 5. Question 5. Jackson, what makes that true? So one answer?
Yeah.
So negative 1 is the only thing that would make it 0. Because each equation there, each side is the same. Negative 1 would make that 0, negative 1 would make that 0, nothing else happens. Question number 6, done a lot of those. Strang, what would make either one of those terms 0? Yeah, 6 would make this one 0. No, not negative 6. What would make this one 0? 0. 6 and 0. Last one, what would give us 4? So I would have to make that 2 times 2. So what would I put in for x to give me 2? 3? 3 minus 1 is 2? Actually, one more.
You do a lot of different combinations.
Give me one.
10 and -3.
But it gotta be the same number.
-1.
Negative 1. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. Negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. So again, 2 answers. Yes.
For number 4, wait, wouldn't it only be 1 because -5 would give you -50?
Negative 5 times negative 5 is a positive 25 times 2. All right, this one's saying each of the following equations have 2 solutions. What are they? Show how you find them. Okay, so whenever I do these, I want to solve for x or n. So the first thing I'm going to do is say, all right, I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, because that is easier for me to see. What times what is 400? Does have to be the same number. Remember, it does say that there's 2 solutions. 20 and negative 20. Could also write it as plus or minus 20. That means the same thing. And of course, 20 times 20 is 400. Negative 20 times negative 20 is 400. Okay, why don't you try 2? Get the x squared, or in this case, the n squared by itself. That's your first step. What's that? Sure. All right, how do I get the n squared by itself? Now, somebody said flip it. If you prefer it always to be on the left side, that's fine. It's not changing anything. But right now I'm taking 3 times n squared. What is the opposite of times 3? We gotta divide by 3. What's 432 divided by 3? Okay, so I gotta figure out then what squared is 144. Remember, 2 answers. 12 and negative 12. 12 times 12 is 144. Negative 12 times negative 12 is 144. Why don't you try 3? A little different because it's in parentheses now. See if we can get that one. Something plus 1 squared is 144. All right, again, a couple options. Maybe you can see it. Can write it first. Maybe you prefer that. Remember, squared means I have two of them. Maybe that helps you. Well, what times what is 144? 12. So I need n plus 1 to equal to 12. Also, it could equal negative 12. All right, negative 12 times negative 12 is 144 as well. So that's another way to look at it. So what plus 1 is 12? 11. So 11 works. Now don't always think it's positive 11, negative 11, because negative 11 will not give us negative 12 here. What plus 1 is negative 12? Negative 13. Gotta subtract 1 from both sides. So those are your two answers. Those are the two things that will make it true. Question number 4, very similar again. Again, I want to get my squared term by itself, so I got to get rid of a minus 30. How do I get rid of a minus 30? Do the opposite. Add 30. Again, you can write it twice if you want, not required. Well, what times what would give me 100? 10 times 10. So I need one of those terms to equal 10. Or negative 10. Because negative 10 times negative 10 would equal 100 as well. So what minus 5 is 10, Jackson? What minus 5 is 10? Yeah, you'd have to add 5 to both sides. 15 is correct. Again, just solve it algebraically if you want. Add 5 to both sides. Negative 5 is your other answer. Again, I always said they have two answers. Anytime you see a squared, that's going to happen most of the time. You notice from question 1, there was a couple that was just one answer because they were the same. On the Are You Ready? How many solutions does the equation have? 3. What are they? So what would make this one 0? X equals 3. What would make this one 0? And what would make this one 0? All right, so those are your 3 answers. Why don't you answer number 2? How many answers there, Kenny?
3,
Okay, what are they?
2, 7, and
2, 7, and then 2 again. We already have that listed, so we don't have to list it again. So technically there's only 2 answers because 2 of them are the same. Write a new equation that has 10 solutions. I'm assuming that means 10 different ones. So I'm going to start with 1. What would the answer to that one be? That would equal 0. 1. You can use whatever numbers you want. I'm just going to use 1 through 5 and negative 1 through 5. That would have 10 different solutions. Plus, minus 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, the summary here. Some quadratic equations that can be solved by performing the same operation on both sides. Done a lot of those. As long as you do it to one side and do it to the other, you will not change the equation. But anytime you have these, you have to get the squared term by itself. So the first step would be to get rid of the minus 75. How do you get rid of the minus 75? You add it. Then I'm left with this. Now I need to get rid of the 3. It's 3 times this term. The opposite of multiply by 3 is divide by 3. You gotta figure out what plus 1 squared equals 25. And what number would get us to 25? And of course it's 5. Or negative 5, and then you just solve those. So just kind of a good summary there, step by step, of what you should be doing. Good visual, they show it to you on the right side as well. All right, your homework then, starting on page 180. You're going to see a lot of shows and explains. Make sure you do so. Just do the first one there for you. I'm assuming you can handle 3 and negative 3 pretty easily. I'm going to do square root of 9. It says show that it's a solution. So here's how I would show it. What is the square root of 9? 3. 3 squared is 9. That's how I would show it. So that one is done for you. You got to do it with the other ones as well. Show that it equals 9. B, show that those two do not equal. They don't work. And what's the problem there? Okay, you got to find that as well. So I think everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Got 1 through 9 all the way to page 183. And then we will continue on with quadratics tomorrow.